So what I talk about in Fossil Future is, we have more than 10 times as much of all the fossil fuels in the ground as we've used in all of human history. So in terms of the deposits, there's no issue. There's a question of how much of them you can get cost effectively, but we have better and better technology. But the real limiting factor is political. Are we allowed to invest in it? Are we allowed to produce fossil fuel? Are we allowed to transport it? And that's what's caused today's shortages. So these are politically induced shortages, not, like nature induced shortages. And what's happened really interestingly is we're not it's the anti-fossil fuel movement hasn't even succeeded at lowering the amount of fossil fuel use, so we actually use more fossil fuel than ever, but they've restricted the growth by opposing investment, by opposing production, by opposing transportation. People can think of different examples like shutting down pipelines or preventing fracking in Europe, or different financial institutions refusing to invest. Those things have restricted the growth of fossil fuel in a world that needs far more energy, and it needs most of it from fossil fuel because of the unique attributes of fossil fuels. And what's happened there is just because we've slowed the growth, we've created a global energy crisis where we have these skyrocketing prices. So people act like, oh, fossil fuels are no longer cheap. No, no, no. They could be plenty cheap, but we've restricted them. And so what if that should really call into question if just restricting the growth of fossil fuels has caused a global crisis that's really terrorizing the world right now? What does it mean to pursue this fossil fuel elimination agenda that until the last year or two people thought was common sense?